Today, I'm going to teach you one of the strategies that we use in our buddy group program, and we teach our families of our students to use to help our students express their opinions. Hello, YouTube family. This is Rebecca Robbins from Mind Shaper SLP, where we create fruitful and fulfilling lives for autistic individuals and their families. And this month, we are focusing on how we do this at Mind Shaper SLP by focusing on social communication. I have a group that I started and created called Buddy Group that is a social group for students ages 8 through their 20s. We have two levels of classes and we focus on bonding and connection and creating friendships, but we also focus on improving their conversation skills in this class. One of the things that I've noticed over the years in teaching buddy group is that for my emerging conversationalists, so these are not my students that are usually in my level 2 classes that are already pretty conversational. I'm talking more about my students that fit the level 1 class profile that they really need a little more support and help to maintain a conversation past the question and answer phase. One of the main challenges for them in conversations is being able to make varied comments and even respond to comments. I like to work on that by using declarative language as much as possible. You can go check out my declarative language video that I posted a couple weeks ago to learn more on that. Highly powerful tool to help your child understand and respond to comments and also facilitate their own comments. But today I'm going to teach you one of the strategies that we use in our buddy group program, and we teach our families of our students to use to help our students express their opinions. We want our children to be able to express what they like, what they don't like. And too often, if you come from a behavioral teaching background, that type of structured teaching just doesn't really help to facilitate the production of comments, especially in relation to stating opinions. I like to start with focusing just on our students' likes and dislikes in terms of stating their opinion, because those are the most valuable, most concrete ways to teach how to state an opinion. Then from there, I focus on the sensory experience of my students, because especially for my neurodivergent students, the sensory component is really impactful for them. It's a way that they can tune in really strongly on whether they like or dislike something. So how can you help your child express their opinion and express their likes and dislikes through comments in conversation? I'm going to give you a really fun activity that you could try today at home with your child. This would be great family time activity around the dinner table. You can do it as a family unit, and you can also do this one-on-one with your child as well. This activity will work the best if you, as the adult, and the other family members that you do this with all use declarative language as much as possible. You're not only modeling how to comment, but you're also giving your autistic child or autistic young adult the opportunity to learn how to respond to the comments and also make them on their own. This is actually an activity that I got the idea from the declarative language handbook. I mentioned this in my declarative language video a couple of weeks ago. I highly recommend that you get this book. It's not a hard read. It's a short book. It's a quick read. It's an excellent resource. You can find more information in this book here as well as to how to do this activity. We're going to use all 5 of our senses. So taste, smell, sound, touch, and sight. Funny story. When I was making the notes for this video, I was listing out the senses and I'm like, I only have 4. I'm like, there are 5 senses and I can't think of what the 5th sense is. Oh my God. Sight. I was forgetting sight for some reason. I had a little brain fart there. So don't forget sight. It's an important one. What you're going to do is you're going to gather 2 to 3 items that you are going to experience with all of your senses and focus on one sense at a time. So you do all the taste items and then all the sound items, all the smell items, all the touch items, all the sight items together. You don't have to do all of the sensory categories at the same time. You could choose to do one sensory category at a time. For instance, if you're going to try this at dinner one night, focus on taste. If your child has feeding aversions or food aversions, you might want to keep the taste portion out of the mealtime because you don't want to have mealtime be more aversive than it might already be for your child. But let's just say you're gathering the family and you want to just work on taste. That's fine. Just do the short taste activity. And then when you try it again, let's work on smell. Or you can continue to work on taste, but just choose a few different items that you're going to comment upon. And you want to try to pick things that are going to be really potent for your child, that they're going to really have a strong sensory reaction to, like lemon. People have really strong opinions about lemon. And of course, again, when you're dealing with taste, if your child has food aversions, it's okay to skip the taste sense because we don't want this to be an aversive activity. Although you could use it as an opportunity for your child to state the opinion, like, I don't like that, I don't want that in a comment. In my buddy group program, we use a chart when we're doing this activity. It's just a chart that states the names of the people who are doing the taste test or the smell test or the touch test across the top, and then a list of the things on the side. All of my families get access to all of the materials that we use to teach the lesson in class because I don't want my students to only be able to practice their skills in the 1 hour of class time each week. I want them to be using them at home, in the community, out in the world. So I make sure that my families have all the materials. If you comment below that you would like this chart, I would be happy to send you a free copy. So you have the items, say like lemon, chocolate, coffee. Let's say we're doing smell, right? Lemon, chocolate, coffee. That's what we're going to smell. And then across the top would be like mom, dad, Johnny. Let's just pretend you're doing it, the parents and the one child. Then what you do is you actually experience the item with whatever sense you're targeting. Right now we're talking about smells. Maybe mom would take a turn smelling the lemon. Oh, I really like how the lemon smells. And that's the comment. I really like how the lemon smells. And maybe dad takes a whiff and says, I don't like the smell. And then that's their comment. And then maybe the child, when you're starting out, it's okay if your child's comments are just, I like this smell, I don't like this smell. But as you, as the adult, go through this activity, if you can try to model some more varied type of language around stating your opinion. Ooh, this lemon smells so fresh and clean. It reminds me of being clean. Things like that. That would be a great model for your child as to how to state an opinion that goes beyond just, I like this, I don't like this. We're not going to judge or qualify the type of comments that they make. We're just going to record the comments. You go through the lemon, the chocolate, the coffee. Then when you're done with all of your items, you go through and you talk about everyone's opinions. You can say, oh, look, mom and dad did not like the lemon. They don't have a common opinion, but Johnny, you do like the lemon. We feel the same way about lemons. And you can just talk about the different opinions that are appearing on the chart, which is another great way for the child to work on comments because now they can state common interest. Oh, mom, you like lemons just like me. Mom says, I like lemons, and the child can say, me too. So those are stating a common interest. That's a comment type that we work on in our program as well. But the point is that tapping into the child's senses is really motivating for them to express how they feel about something. It really helps to unlock their language. I always say, one of my key tips for creating intrinsic motivation in autistic learners is to utilize sensory experiences. And that's exactly what you're doing in this activity. You are tapping into their sensory experiences so that they can access their opinions themselves and be more motivated to state their opinion, whether it's, I don't like that, I really have a strong opinion against that, or I do like that. I've had a lot of students over the years that actually have a hard time expressing negative opinions. It's almost like they feel like they're not supposed to express them, or it just makes them uncomfortable to talk about negative experiences or negative emotions. They have a tough time about it, but it really is important for us to work on these skills so that when our children grow up and they're out in the world and in the community, they can express when they don't like something or they don't want something, because that's an important self advocacy skill. Some recommendations of different items you could use. And again, with all of these, you're going to want to keep in mind your child's nervous system. We don't want to pick things that our children are like afraid of or so averse to that it's going to trigger them into fight, flight, or freeze, because that's going to completely defeat the point of the activity. They're not going to want to participate in the activity because now it's scary. Now it's unsafe. For sound, definitely pick some sounds that you know your child likes, and pick some that you suspect maybe your child might not like, but they're okay with experiencing that sound. It's also a great way for them to learn to say, I don't like that. And then maybe you could have them request, like, turn it off while you're going through. If you're working on the sound, oh, I don't like that. Turn it off, mom. And that's an important skill. If they're out in the community and there's a sound happening that they don't like, they can communicate that to others. For touch, you want to pick some things that you know that your child likes to feel, and then maybe give them some new touch experiences that they've never been exposed to before. Sandpaper could be a really good one. Or grab a towel out of your cabinet and so it feels nice and soft, or a really soft stuffed animal, one of those spiky sensory balls, and feel something like that. You want to have something that's going to have a very distinct feel to it, so that your child or young adult or teen, whoever you're doing this activity with, will have a very distinct opinion about it. That's the important part. The more distinct the sensation, the more likely they are to have a distinct opinion about it. So with sight, I did this activity with my virtual group, actually, my adult one virtual group. I went on YouTube and I found different videos that had like almost like what you would think about when you would think about like psychedelic videos from the 70s or something, a lava lamp effect, and like put a video like that on, something with like a kaleidoscope kind of image, I think was another one. And I actually would pull in pictures from Canva as well to do this. I would also try to pick things that, in my opinion, seem a little bit too intense for me to look at, so that they could also express an opinion that they don't like that as well. For taste, food items are obviously for taste. We want to use food items. Picking things like a lemon. I find that mangoes is another fruit that people have very strong opinions on. They either love it or they don't like it. Smell, I like to use things like essential oils, and you can take a cotton ball and put a few drops of an essential oil on the cotton ball. And you can even use those plastic bubbles that you get in the quarter machines at the grocery store. I think they still have those. You can put the cotton balls in there so that you open it, like kind of really locks the scent in, and you pull out the cotton ball, or you can hold the thing up and smell the cotton ball. But you could just put it in like a Tupperware container too. That's a really easy way to work on scents. Or you could use food items for scent. Smelling a lemon is actually a really fragrant smell as well. You could use perfumes. You could use things that don't smell good. So the more visceral of a reaction that the child is going to have to the sense, to the item that you're presenting to elicit that sense, the more likely they are going to be able to use a comment to state their opinion about the item. Use your imagination, look around your house, go on a sensory scavenger hunt around your house. That's another way you could work on this after you do the structured task and you're filling out the grid and you're talking about the opinions. Maybe you and your child go on a sensory walk together and you walk around the house. You're like, oh, okay, let's find something to touch. And you go find something to touch, and then you state your opinions about what you found and share each other's item. And so you can share each other's opinions. You can definitely expand this. You can go outside on a sensory walk. You can focus on what you hear when you're outside, what you smell when you're outside. There are other ways to do this, but it might be easier for your child to start in a more structured context first, and then expand to a bigger context, like going on a sensory scavenger hunt. This has been The best way that I have found in my classes to get genuine comments from my students, because again, I don't want to teach my students to have canned responses or canned comments. And what I find is a lot of my students who are emerging conversationalists, where they can hold a conversation about a preferred topic or a common topic like, how are you? I'm good. What did you do today? That sort of a thing for like a couple turns, but they have a hard time going beyond that, or they have a hard time stating a comment beyond that's great or that's good, something like that. A positive statement is what we call them in buddy group. I find that this has been one of the best activities to get those genuine comments out of my students so that they are actually interacting with each other with their true thoughts and opinions, which is really what we want. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want the grid that I created for my buddy group families. I will be happy to send that along to you if you just comment below this video. As always, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Buddy Group is open for enrollment right now. We have in-person classes in Goshen, New York, and we have virtual classes available for any resident of New York, any resident of Pennsylvania. Go to buddygrouprocks.com to find out more information about that. We start our summer classes in July, and it's an 8-week summer program. So I hope to see you there, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care.